Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Shai, Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Shai, Brakathia Howell, Brakathia Howell, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakha Kudash, double unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim, to Sadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shaman, this week's topic is going to be entitled The Nations Are Pissed. This is inspired by a video that was put up by Darius M. He did a response to a TikTok video or whatever video this was. Asian mom kicks daughter out after discovering her OnlyFans. And you can watch the video for yourself on his channel. But pretty much he was highlighting the fact that in Asian culture, the moms are pretty much passive. You know, they support their children and they keep them out of shit like this actually, you know, of OnlyFans and that sort of culture. Bad bitch, boss babe culture. You know, the nations try not to put their kids into that. But when you watch the video, you could tell the daughter is pretty much Americanized, you know what I'm saying, and spewing out a whole bunch of hypocrisy. But, you know, the mom wasn't having it, trying to kick out the crib. And, you know, moms put up with a lot of shit. The mothers are the one that typically put up with a lot of BS, and the fathers are the disciplinarians, right? So if your mom is kicking you out and you're a daughter, then you know she's fed up. But where is this thing coming from? Well, it's coming from the wine of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's the one that's spewing out this whole feminist woman get your bag, OnlyFans type, be a whore doctrine. You know, it's very westernized culture, and it's spreading like wildfire, and the nations are pissed off at it, man. They don't want their daughters to be on OnlyFans and to be boss babes and out there like that. They're trying to keep that as a thing in the West because they know that's how come Ishmael is willing to strap a bomb to himself and blow himself up, because he's saying, look, man, I'd rather die for my virgins, my 16-year-old virgins, than to bring what you guys got going on over there here. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. It says, Babylon. Let's break down that word Babylon. Babal lawn, land of confusion, have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. Right, now, wine is indicative of philosophies, a way of life, certain ideologies. All right, and Babylon that's talking about is America. America is this confused land that's spreading its wine all throughout the world. It says that made all the earth drunken, staggering from what they have known. Okay, from generation to generation to this new ideas, you know, whether it be LGBTQ or feminism or what have you. And this video might be a microcosm of what I'm talking about, but it's adding up. It's an accumulation of all these different philosophies that the so-called white man is spewing out in the world that's got these nations pissed off. That made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So the nations have partaked in it. You know, that's how come a lot of people, you know, they leave in the country to deal with women overseas. It's called SEA, SEA, Southeast Asia, where they want traditional women. But here's the catch-22: you can't let those traditional women leave their country, because if they come to America, it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. You know, it's a wrap for them. You know, just like how if you have a son and you're raising them in your country, you come over here, you lead them to the school system, they're going to be going to bathrooms that have transgender bathrooms. They're going to be indoctrinating your kids into the ways and philosophies of America. That's that wine. That's how come people from the nations, they come here, they work, get their money, and then leave this shit, man, and go retire in their own country, because everybody knows that the ways and the philosophies of America is detrimental, all right, to a life of moral. All right, there's no morality in this particular society, man. Why? Because every single law, statute, and commandment that's written in the scriptures, all right, the so-called white man is against. And what does the scripture say? When the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So this society is being run wickedly, so the people are mourning or pissed off or angry, man. Habakkuk 2:5 says, yea, let me read verse 4 actually, and then go to 5. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. Now, who's the he is talking about? The so-called white man. How can you not have an upright soul? Well, before flesh is formed and everything, there's a spirit that comes down from the heavens, all right, into that body, all right, into that sperm. Okay, there's a spirit that comes down when pretty much that spirit, before it even enters the flesh and do its thing and is formulated, it's on the Most High's left hand side. All right, the wicked side of the Lord. The Lord deals with righteousness and wickedness. So the spirit of the so-called white man, before he's even fashioned in flesh, it's already up in the spiritual world for him to be on the left hand side. So of course, when he comes into the physical, all right, he's gonna have that left-handed, not right mindset, man. All right, a mindset that is prone or antagonist to the ways of the Heavenly Father and His people. You see, antagonist to the scriptures. That's why we call him the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, because he's adversarial to the Most High's, all the Most High's ways. So-called white man's against it, man. And just look at the way the society is run if you disagree. Look at the laws that are passed. You know, scriptures pursuant to the book of Isaiah 10:1 tells us that these laws are unrighteous decrees, man. And that's what is prescribed here in America, unrighteous decrees. Telling a woman she could be 18, 19 and then spreading her cheeks on OnlyFans to make money. You know, the idea of having a traditional family and skipping school and college and all that to establish a family and to be loyal to your man, that's not esteemed here in America. All right. In fact, quite the opposite is esteemed here. That's how come the divorce rates here are so high. That's how come people are miserable. All right, because they destroyed the nuclear family, the concept and idea of a nuclear family. And if you try to come and establish that over here, guess what? They could lock you up. You know, they could lock you up for trying to discipline your kids or your woman or maintain your household. If the Esau doesn't deem it fit, a man could get locked up, man. All right? A woman could divorce you and take everything you got. See, in the laws concerning divorce, all right, in the scriptures, a woman kept everything she had on her. She went her way. You know what I'm saying? That's like a woman would store all their jewelry on their body just in case they were to be divorced. They have everything on them. All right? But after that, it was that. You didn't take half of what she had. You didn't take anything from her. In this society, they take half of what you got, man. And as Drake said, bitch, you wasn't in there shooting with me in the gym. Or Rick Ross, rather. You know, you wasn't with me in the gym shooting. In other words, all my time invested in whatever avenue I try to become successful in, whether it's a sports, entertainer, whatever, you wasn't with me building it. Now how the hell can you come and take half of it? That's the society, unrighteous, man. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. You're going into Hebrew there, just. You're going to get tazadak. How are we justified? Romans 5:1. We're justified, or we're made righteous through our faith in Yahushua. All right, which is a gift of the Most High, pursuant to the book of Ephesians 2:8. So that's only for the elect. That's only for the nation of Israel. Okay? Faith, hope, that's only for really the elect. You know, at least faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, rather, because everybody in some way, shape, or fashion have a bit of hope, right? A bit of faith, because that's how come people like, you know, they'll, for instance, people will jump out of parachutes. They don't believe in the Most High, but they have faith that they're going to, you know, land safely, you know? So our faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai was a gift, Ephesians 2:8. All right, now reading on, verse 5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine. And here it is again. That wine represents that philosophy. The philosophies of the so-called white man go against the law, statutes, and commandments. They're transgressions. They're sinful. You know? Isn't it not written that you should not have any whores of the daughters of Israel? So isn't OnlyFans against that? All right? And OnlyFans wasn't established to be some goddamn pornography site, but look what it's turned into. This is what happened when you leave women to their own devices. All right? They're agents of Satan, angels of their flesh and their emotions. The scriptures expressly speak about leaning upon your own heart, leaning upon your own understanding, leaning upon your emotions. And that's what women operate. They operate on their emotions and heart. So, of course, they're desperately wicked. You know, they can't help it. They're programmed that way. It says, they also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Right. So the so-called white man, he can't keep these philosophies and ways to his goddamn self in America. No, he has to spread them. You see? And not only does he spread philosophies throughout the world, he spreads wars, tortures, evil, wickedness across the world, man. Why? Because he's trying to plant his seed, physical seed, all right, and his ideological seed throughout the world. So he don't keep himself at home. They did the same shit when they were the Greeks. Alexander tried to Hellenize the world or Greekize the world. They did the same shit when they were the Romans, and they're doing the same shit now. So neither keep at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Right. So the wicked elites, they have every damn thing, man. They have all the riches, everything, but they're not satisfied with that. That's why they're gonna try to put a chip in you, because they want your soul. See, they want to be like the Most High. They want to monitor every single person on the planet Earth. Ultimately, that's easier done when you bring the population down. So they're trying to start a World War III, all right, nuclear catastrophe that will wipe out a majority of the population, and then they could rule the remaining population, which they've monitored through chips and all that. So that's the end all goal, to chip everybody, to wipe out a majority of the population, and come back and rule the remaining population. However, pursuant to the book of Amos, all right, when they up in the heavens and they dig down to hell, pretty much go to their space station, the underground bunkers, thinking they're gonna come out and rule, then we're gonna have our hands on them, So that's the Most High putting them in his trick bag, as it is written: the deceived and the the deceiver and the deceived are his. All right, so the Most High's trick bag, ultimately will have the so-called white man hang himself with his own noose. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right. So this is the way of the wicked. You know what I'm saying? The Most High has always had this sort of wicked one world order spirit on the nations, man, going all the way back to the Great Babylon. With Nimrod, trying to unify the nations, and Antiochus try to do the same thing. All right, and again, these are the elites of the people. All right, because the majority of people want to stick with their kind. That's how come naturally people will have like Chinatown or Little Italy, or this is the West Indian part, this is the Puerto Rican part. Everybody naturally stick to their kind, but the elites of nations try to combine all the nations together. You see, like the UN, EU, all that type of bullshit. It's the wicked elites that's really driving that. This is Obadiah 1:7. It says, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread. Now the scriptures speak about a covenant of bread and salt, because when you eat, it's supposed to signify a covenant, and the salt represents this, because salt was used to preserve food, meaning that this covenant would be preserved no matter what. So it says, though they that have eat thy bread, that took a covenant with you. Now, what's the modern day version of that? The nations that have different contracts and treaties with America have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. In other words, they're going to break these particular treaties, man, and shoot missiles on this place, man. That's what's going to happen here in America. Why? Because they're pissed off of the cutthroat ways of America, the philosophies of America, and ultimately they're going to say, look, to hell with this shit, man. Destroy it. Okay? Now, this is the book of Proverbs 20:1. It says, wine is a mocker. Strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Now, this is talking about actual wine, but I want to use it because the philosophies are having the same sort of effect. All right, because it says strong drink makes man raging. Right. Men could come to blows over if they have enough drinks in them, and they could act very foolish when they have drinks, right? They do foolish things and they fight and do stupid things if they have too much wine. And the same thing is happening with the so-called white man's philosophies. These nations, as irrational as it is to have a thermonuclear war, is going to destroy a whole bunch of people. The philosophies is making them act as if they were drunk. Just like how you would be drunk and come to blow with somebody you're tight with, or you might act like a fucking idiot, the same thing is the so-called white man's philosophy is having the same effect on these nations, man, to the point that they're ready to come to blows with America, and they will. They're going to do an irrational thing because of the wines and philosophies and doctrines of America, man. All right? And it says, whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. And these nations have been deceived. The whole world has been deceived by the so-called white man, except the elect. So the majority of these people out here, they're not wise, man. The majority of these people are fools. But that's what is set in great dignity. Folly. Now, this Jeremiah 50:12 says, your mother shall be sore confounded. All right? Now, who's the mother of America? Britain. All right? America came out of Britain. It says, she that bare thee shall be ashamed. And there's going to come a point where one of your strongest allies, Great Britain, is going to break off and not deal with America. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. So America is when all hell breaks loose in World War III. Some of your greatest allies are going to turn on you, including the ones that birth you, America, Britain, man. So that's how much the why and the ways of America have pissed the nations off. That those that are super allied with you are going to just say fuck America and destroy this place too. See, and here's why all this confusion is happening. Proverbs 30:21 says, "For three things the earth is disquieted, or not at ease, or not at peace, and for four, which is it cannot bear." Right, so it can't. It's just too much to bear. Verse 22: "For a servant when he reigneth, is not now written, the elder shall serve the younger." Esau was meant to be on this planet Earth as a servant, but he's ruling. The equivalent is, you have a Fortune 500 company, and the building is, you have the headquarters, and up top you have the CEOs, and on the bottom, you have the janitors and the cleaners. Now, what if you went into that building and for some strange reason tomorrow you put the janitors at the head of the corporation and told them to run this Fortune 500 company? The shit would go under. They wouldn't know what the fuck to do, They just wouldn't know. That's not their role. They're meant to serve and clean up the damn place, not run a Fortune 500 company. But that's what's happening. That's the equivalent of what's happening. The so-called white man is not meant to run this world and rule this world, because look what he's doing to it. He's destroying the entire planet. Why? Because he's a fucking servant, man. Part of my language. It says, "For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat." So, so-called white man ruling, all right, being filled with meat, that pretty much got the whole world just upside down crazy, to the point where the Lord is just gonna have to end it. This man's rulership with thermonuclear destruction, man. And the Lord himself coming to add more fire to the fuel with the laser beams from the chariots, man. Well, I hope brothers were edified, man. I got to get back on the road, grind, do what I got to do. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'Hashem, Rachakodash, that belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Mills, who drew well. Salutations to the whole elect out there, and Shalom.